The cafeteria was loud and crowded like always. Students filled every table, talking and laughing with their friends. There were so many different species here at Interstellar Academy Station. Tall reptilian creatures with scales that shimmered under the lights. Small floating beings that glowed softly. Aquatic students in special water suits. Everyone had someone to sit with. Everyone except Kira. She sat at the corner table by the window, the same table she sat at every single day. Her body was different from most species here. She had 4 arms and a crystalline shell that looked like glass. Under that shell, soft lights pulsed in different colors. Right now they were dim blue. In her language, the Zelthri language, blue meant she was sad. But no one here knew that. No one here cared to know. Kira pretended to read something on her datapad. She kept her eyes down, trying not to look at the other students. She tried not to notice how they walked past her table without stopping. She tried not to hear the whispers when groups of students glanced her way. It had been like this for 6 months. 6 long, lonely months. When Kira first arrived at the academy, she was excited. She wanted to learn, to make friends, to honor her family's memory. But everything went wrong in the first week. She got nervous during a class presentation and her body released stress chemicals, pheromones that made 3 students very sick. They had to go to the medical bay. After that, everyone avoided her. They said Zelthri were cold and dangerous. They said her species had no emotions, no feelings. That wasn't true at all. Kira felt everything deeply. The lights under her shell showed every emotion. But no one bothered to learn what the colors meant. There were only 3 Zelthri students in the entire station. 5,000 students total, and only 3 like her. She thought maybe the other 2 Zelthri would be her friends. But they avoided her too. They said she made their species look bad. So Kira ate alone, studied alone, walked through the corridors alone. She watched other students joke with their friends. She saw them study together in groups. She heard their laughter echo through the halls. And she wondered what that felt like. Today was no different. Kira sat at her table with her nutrition pod, a container of mineral solution that her species absorbed through special feeding tendrils. It wasn't like the food other species ate. She didn't chew or swallow. Her people consumed nutrients differently. She was about to open the container when a shadow fell across her table. Kira looked up, expecting someone to ask her to move or to tell her she was sitting in the wrong spot. Instead, she saw a human standing there. He had brown hair and a friendly smile. He was holding a tray with something flat and round on it. The round thing had red sauce and melted yellow cheese on top. "Hey," the human said. "This seat taken?" Kira stared at him. Her bioluminescent patterns flickered in confusion, shifting from blue to purple. Was this a joke? A dare from his friends? She looked around. Other students were watching. Some had stopped talking to stare at them. No one sits here," Kira said quietly. Her translator device made her voice sound mechanical and strange. "Perfect." The human set his tray down and pulled out a chair. "Mind if I join you?" He sat down before she could answer. Then he looked at her with genuine curiosity and asked the strangest question. "You like pizza?" Kira tilted her head. "I do not know what pizza is." The human's face lit up with excitement. "Really? Oh man, you're missing out." "Well, I mean, maybe not. I don't know what Zelthri eat. Do you guys eat? Or is it different?" No one had asked her anything personal in months. No one had tried to have a real conversation with her. "We absorb nutrients," Kira explained carefully. "Not like your species. We do not chew solid food." She waited for him to make an excuse and leave. That's what always happened. That's what she expected. But the human just nodded, looking even more interested. "That's actually really cool. So what do you absorb? Like what tastes good to your species?" "Mineral solutions. Crystallized sugars. Things that would seem like rocks to you. Like rock candy?" The human grinned. "That's awesome." Kira didn't understand why he was so happy about this. She didn't understand why he was still sitting there. "Why are you talking to me?" she asked. The question came out more desperate than she meant it to. The human shrugged like it was the simplest thing in the world. "You were sitting alone. I figured you might want some company. Plus, eating by yourself is pretty boring, right?" For the first time in 6 months, the lights under Kira's shell pulsed with a tiny flash of gold. "Oh." The human took a big bite of his pizza and made a happy sound. Kira watched him carefully, still not sure if this was real or some kind of trick. "I'm Tom, by the way," he said between bites. "Tom Blake. I just transferred here 2 weeks ago from Earth." "I am Kira," she said softly. "I have been here for 6 months." Tom nodded and smiled at her. Around them, the cafeteria had gone quieter. Students from nearby tables were staring at them. A group of reptilian Kralik students whispered to each other and pointed. Two floating Vorgins stopped in the middle of the walkway to watch. Kira's patterns flickered red. Stress. Anxiety. This attention was too much. Hey, don't worry about them, Tom said, noticing her discomfort. He didn't know about the color patterns yet, but somehow he understood. They're just curious. Probably wondering why the new guy has better taste in lunch partners than they do. Kira didn't understand the joke, but something about his tone made her patterns shift back to purple. Confusion mixed with the smallest hint of gold. Tom pointed at his pizza. So this is a pretty basic one. Just cheese and pepperoni. That's a meat from Earth. But you can put almost anything on pizza. Vegetables, different meats, even pineapple, though people fight about that one. Why would anyone fight about food? Kira asked. It's not a real fight. It's just, humans have strong opinions about pizza. Tom laughed. We're weird like that. We get very serious about our food. This was the longest conversation Kira had with anyone in months. She didn't want it to end, but she also didn't know what to say. Social interaction had become so strange to her. What does it taste like? She asked, looking at the pizza. Tom thought about it. Warm. Salty. The cheese is creamy and stretchy. The sauce is a little sweet and tangy. The crust is chewy. It's comfort food, you know? Makes you feel good. Kira absorbed this information. My people have comfort food too. There is a crystal formation that grows on our home world. It forms in caves deep underground. When we consume it, it tastes like safety. Like home. That's beautiful, Tom said, and he meant it. Do you have any here? No. It is very rare. Very expensive to transport off-world. Tom pulled out his datapad and started typing something. What's it called? Why do you need to know? Because I'm gonna find out where to get some on this station. Might take me a while, but I'll figure it out. He looked up at her. Everyone deserves to have their comfort food, especially when they're far from home. Kira's patterns pulsed bright gold for just a moment. Then she caught herself and dimmed them again. She wasn't used to kindness. It felt dangerous, like something that could be taken away. You do not have to do that, she said. I know. I want to. Tom finished his pizza and wiped his hands. So tell me about your home world. What's it like? And Kira found herself talking. Really talking. She told him about the crystal caves and the singing mountains where the wind made music through hollow rock formations. She told him about her family, her parents and her younger sibling, and how they died when their colony's life support failed. She told him that she came to the academy to study engineering so she could prevent that kind of accident from happening to other families. Tom listened to everything. He didn't interrupt. He didn't check his datapad or look around the cafeteria. He just listened like what she was saying actually mattered. That's why you're here, Tom said quietly. You're not just studying. You're on a mission. Yes, Kira said. But it is hard to complete a mission when no one will work with you. When everyone thinks you are dangerous. That thing that happened in your first week, Tom said. The pheromones. That wasn't your fault, right? No. I was nervous. My body reacted. I cannot always control it when I am stressed. So basically, you had a panic attack and it affected people around you. That's not being dangerous. That's just being stressed in a body that works differently. Tom leaned back in his chair. People should understand that. But they do not. Then they're idiots. Tom said it so simply, so matter-of-factly, that Kira almost laughed. The sound that came out of her was strange. Zelthari didn't laugh like humans, but it was close enough. Tom grinned. Was that a laugh? Perhaps, Kira admitted. Good. You should laugh more. Tom stood up and gathered his tray. Same time tomorrow? Kira's patterns flickered in surprise. You want to eat lunch with me again? Yeah. Why not? I still need to teach you about tacos. And burritos. And about 100 other Earth foods. He paused. Unless you don't want me to. No, Kira said quickly. I would like that. Cool. See you tomorrow, Kira. Tom walked away, and for the first time in 6 months, Kira felt something she thought she had lost forever. She felt like maybe, just maybe, she wasn't completely alone anymore. Tom came back the next day just like he promised. Kira had worried all night that he wouldn't. She thought maybe he would realize that sitting with her was social suicide and decide to find better friends. But at exactly noon, Tom walked into the cafeteria with his tray and headed straight for her table. Got something new today, he announced, sitting down. Chocolate chip cookies. They're dessert. Kira looked at the round brown discs with dark spots. I still cannot eat your food. I know. But I like showing you anyway. Plus, I ordered something for you. Should arrive in a few days. You ordered something? Yep. It's a surprise. Tom bit into a cookie and smiled. This became their routine. Every day at lunch, Tom brought different Earth foods. Tacos with crunchy shells. Sushi with raw fish. Something called a hot dog that wasn't actually made from dogs. Kira couldn't eat any of it, but she loved hearing Tom describe the tastes and textures. The way humans experience food was so different from her species. In return, Kira started bringing things from her culture. She showed Tom harmonic crystals that sang when you touched them. She demonstrated color poetry, using her bioluminescence to create patterns that told stories. She taught him about Zelthari history, about how her people were once warriors who nearly destroyed themselves in civil wars, then evolved into philosophers and scientists. Wait, so your entire species just decided to stop fighting and become peaceful? Tom asked one day. After we nearly went extinct, yes. We had to change or die. That's incredible. Humans are still figuring that out. The best part was when Tom asked Kira to teach him her light language. Every day he got a little better at reading her patterns. When she pulsed blue with sadness, he would tell her stupid jokes until gold appeared. When she flashed red with stress before exams, he would bring her sweet crystals. He'd found a supplier on the station who sold Zelthari nutrition supplements. How did you find these? Kira asked the first time, her patterns blazing gold. Asked around. Traded some Earth coffee beans for information. Totally worth it to see you happy. Other students started noticing their friendship. Some seemed curious. A few brave souls even asked Tom about Kira, wondering what she was really like. But others looked at them with disgust or confusion. One afternoon in the third week, everything came to a head. Tom and Kira were sitting at their usual table when a group of 5 Kralik students approached. The Kraliks were tall reptilian creatures with sharp teeth and aggressive postures. Their leader, a male named Vex, stopped right in front of their table. Human, Vex said, his voice cold. Why do you waste your time with the bug? Kira's patterns immediately dimmed. She started to stand up, ready to leave. This was exactly what she feared. Tom would get in trouble because of her. She couldn't let that happen. But Tom's hand shot out, gesturing for her to stay. Her name is Kira, Tom said calmly. And she's my friend. Vex laughed, a harsh sound that made other students look over. Friend? With a Zelthari? They're cold. Emotionless. Dangerous. That creature made 3 students sick. That was an accident, Tom said. And she's not emotionless. You just don't know how to read her. Move aside, human. You're embarrassing yourself. Tom stood up. He was shorter than Vex by almost a full foot. The Kraliks had claws and scales and natural weapons. Tom just had his human stubbornness. No, Tom said simply. The cafeteria went quiet. Everyone was watching now. Vex stepped closer, trying to intimidate Tom. You would defend this thing over your own kind? My own kind. Tom's voice got harder. My kind are people who treat others with respect. My kind don't judge someone because of an accident or because they look different. So yeah, Kira's more my kind than you'll ever be. Kira's patterns were flashing rapidly, gold and red and purple all mixed together. No one had ever defended her before. No one had ever stood up for her like this. Vex raised his clawed hand. For a moment it looked like he might actually attack. That's enough. A professor's voice cut through the tension. Professor Dane, who taught xenobiology, pushed through the crowd. Vex, back to your table. Now. Vex glared at Tom for a long moment, then turned and walked away. His friends followed, muttering in their own language. The cafeteria slowly returned to normal, but people kept glancing at Tom and Kira's table. Tom sat back down like nothing happened. So anyway, you were telling me about those singing mountains? Kira couldn't speak for a moment. Her patterns were pure gold now, brighter than they'd been in years. Thank you, she finally whispered. That's what friends do, Tom said, taking a bite of his sandwich. They show up. They stay. No matter what. That night, Kira recorded the moment in her personal journal. She marked it as the day she learned what true friendship really meant. 2 months passed and Tom and Kira became inseparable. They studied together in the library. They worked on projects together. They even explored different parts of the station on weekends. Slowly, other students stopped staring. Some even started to accept that the human and the Zelthari were actually friends. Then their cross-cultural studies professor announced a big project. Students had to work in pairs to research and present something about interspecies relations. I have an idea, Tom said as they left class. What if we study how sharing food brings species together? Kira tilted her head. Food. Think about it. Every species eats, right? Or absorbs nutrients or whatever. And I bet every species has some kind of social ritual around it. We could research that and then prove it works. How would we prove it? Tom grinned. We throw a party. That's how they ended up planning the Great Food Exchange. They booked the station's common area for a Friday evening. Tom set up a table with Earth foods, pizza, cookies, fruit, sandwiches. Kira created a beautiful display of Zelthari crystal nutrients, arranged by color and mineral content. They made posters and sent announcements. They invited everyone. Friday came. Tom and Kira stood in the common area next to their tables. The room was empty except for them. Maybe this was a bad idea, Kira said, her patterns dim blue. Give it time, Tom said, but he sounded less confident than usual. An hour passed. Nobody came. Students walked by the common area, looked in and kept walking. Kira felt the familiar weight of rejection settling on her. We should clean up. Wait, Tom said. Look. A small figure approached the doorway. It was a Vorgin, one of the floating gas beings that lived in containment suits. The Vorgin hovered at the entrance, clearly nervous. Tom walked over with a smile. Hey, come on in. Want to try some Earth food? We can vaporize a sample so you can experience it. The Vorgin floated closer. Tom took a small piece of pizza and used a special device to convert it to vapor. The Vorgin absorbed it through their suit's intake valve. Good? Tom asked. The Vorgin's suit lights blinked in a pattern that meant yes. They stayed. Then 2 more students came in. Then 5 more. Within an hour, the room was full of different species, all trying different foods, all talking and laughing together. A deepkin in a water suit tried one of Kira's mineral crystals and made happy bubbling sounds. 3 small furry creatures from a species Tom couldn't pronounce shared a cookie. Even a Kralik student, not vexed thankfully, came by and grudgingly admitted the pizza wasn't bad. Kira's patterns blazed gold. She had never seen so many different species interacting peacefully in one space. And it was all because of food. Because of the simple act of sharing a meal. Late that night, after everyone left and they were cleaning up, Kira finally spoke about something she'd kept hidden. Tom, can I tell you something? Of course. Tom stopped stacking chairs and gave her his full attention. I told you my family died in a colony accident. But I didn't tell you everything. Kira's patterns shifted to deep blue. It happened because of me. What do you mean? I was working on the life support systems. I was young, still learning. I made a mistake in the calculations. A small mistake. But it caused a cascade failure. Her voice got quieter. I survived because I was in a sealed work pod. They didn't. Tom sat down next to her. Kira, you were a kid. Kids make mistakes. My mistake killed my family. My parents. My little sibling. 12 other colonists. The blue in her patterns was so dark it was almost black. That's why I came here. To learn engineering properly. To make sure it never happens to anyone else. But I thought I didn't deserve friends. I thought I didn't deserve to be happy. That's why you always sat alone, Tom said softly. Not just because others avoided you. Because you were punishing yourself. Kira's patterns flickered. Yes. Tom was quiet for a moment. Then he said, my city was destroyed when I was 10. Beijing. The climate wars hit us hard. Floods, fires, everything. I survived because I was visiting my aunt in the mountains. My parents didn't make it. Kira's patterns shifted to purple. Surprise mixed with sadness. Tom, I didn't know. For years I felt guilty. Why did I survive when they didn't? Why was I the lucky one? Tom looked at her. But then I realized something. They would want me to live. Really live. Not just survive but connect with people. Make the world better. Honor their memory by being the best version of myself. Your family would be proud of you, Kira said. And yours would be proud of you too. Look what you did tonight. You brought dozens of species together. You're already making things better. For the first time since the accident, Kira let herself believe that maybe she deserved forgiveness. Maybe she deserved friendship. Maybe she deserved to be happy. Her patterns shifted to a color Tom had never seen before, silver light that sparkled like stars. Are you crying? Tom asked gently. In my species we cry light, Kira explained. Thank you, Tom. For everything. For asking if I like pizza. For being my friend. Tom smiled. Best decision I ever made. 4 months had passed since the food exchange event. The corner table where Kira used to sit alone was now the most popular spot in the cafeteria. Students from rare species, students who felt different, students who just wanted a welcoming place, they all gathered there. They started calling it the pizza table even though most of them didn't eat pizza. Tom and Kira's research project won top honors. Their paper was titled Simple Acts: How Small Kindness Changes Everything. The Academy's administration was so impressed they created new programs to help isolated students, all based on Tom and Kira's work. Everything was going well. Too well. Then the crisis happened. It was a Tuesday night when the power failed in the alien quarter. Alarms blared through the station. The alien quarter housed students who needed special life support. Different atmospheres, different temperatures, different gravity. Without power, those systems would fail in less than an hour. The problem was simple but deadly. An energy surge had fried the main systems. Someone needed to reach the manual override deep in the maintenance tunnels. But the tunnels were completely dark now, and the residual energy made them dangerous. Electronic devices wouldn't work. Most species couldn't see in total darkness. Station security stood outside the tunnel entrance, trying to figure out what to do. "We need someone who can navigate without electronics," the chief said. "Someone who can see in the dark or produce their own light." Tom and Kira were in the crowd that had gathered. When Tom heard this, he looked at Kira. Her bioluminescence. Her crystalline body that could handle energy fields better than most species. She was perfect for this. But Kira was backing away, her patterns flashing red with fear. Tom followed her away from the crowd. "Kira, you can do this." "No," she said, her voice shaking. "What if I fail? What if I make a mistake like before? What if people die because of me again?" "That was different. You were a kid. You're trained now." "I'm scared, Tom." Her patterns were dimming, cycling through dark blue and red. 17 students are in there. If I mess up the manual override, they die. Just like my family. Tom pulled out a small package from his pocket. It was her favorite crystallized nutrients, the purple ones that tasted like home. "Do this and I'll get you a whole case of these. Plus, I'll finally try that mineral solution you keep offering me." Despite her fear, Kira's patterns flickered with a tiny bit of gold. "You hate mineral solutions." "I know. That's how much I believe in you." Tom's voice got serious. "Kira, I wouldn't ask if I didn't know you could do it. You're the smartest engineer in this whole station. You're brave even when you don't feel like it. And those 17 students need you." Kira looked at the tunnel entrance. Then back at Tom. Then at the package of crystals in her hand. "Okay," she whispered. "I'll try." The security chief was relieved when Kira volunteered. They gave her the instructions for the manual override. Kira's patterns shifted to steady blue, calm determination. She entered the tunnel. The darkness swallowed her immediately, but her bioluminescence provided light. Blue, gold, even red, all her emotional colors lit the way. The energy fields crackled around her, but her crystalline structure protected her. 20 minutes felt like 20 hours. Tom waited outside with everyone else, his heart pounding. Then the lights came back on. A cheer erupted from the crowd. The life support systems hummed back to life. 17 students in the alien quarter were safe. Kira emerged from the tunnel, her patterns blazing pure gold. Students surrounded her, thanking her, praising her. She had saved them. She had proven that she wasn't dangerous, she was a hero. Tom pushed through the crowd and hugged her. Zelthari didn't usually like physical contact, but Kira didn't mind. Not from her best friend. "I knew you could do it," Tom said. "I couldn't have without you," Kira replied. The next day at lunch, everything felt different. Kira sat at their usual table, surrounded by friends. She was laughing at someone's joke, her patterns dancing through happy colors. Then she noticed something. A new student stood at the cafeteria entrance, holding a tray. The student was a luminose, a rare species that glowed with soft internal light. The luminose looked around nervously. Every table was full. No one was inviting them to sit. Kira remembered that feeling. The loneliness. The fear. The certainty that no one wanted you around. She stood up, her patterns shifting to warm gold. She walked across the cafeteria to the luminose student. Everyone watched, curious. "Hey," Kira said, using the same casual tone Tom had used with her all those months ago. "This seat taken?" The luminose looked surprised. "And no. Want to join us?" Kira gestured to the pizza table. "Also, quick question, you like crystallized minerals?" The luminose's internal glow brightened with hope. I do actually." "Perfect. Come on. I'll introduce you to everyone." As Kira led the new student back to the table, she caught Tom's eye. He was grinning, proud of her. The cycle was complete. The kindness had come full circle. One simple question, "You like pizza?" had changed everything. 5 years later, Tom and Kira ran a program together. They traveled to colonies and stations across the galaxy, finding isolated students, organizing food exchanges, teaching people that connection was stronger than division. They always started the same way: find someone sitting alone and ask them a simple question. The galaxy was changing. Not through wars or politics or grand treaties. It was changing through small acts of kindness. Through humans who refused to let anyone eat alone. Through friends who showed up and stayed. Because humanity's real power wasn't in their weapons or their ships or their technology. It was in their stubborn, foolish, beautiful insistence that everyone deserved a friend. Everyone deserved someone to sit with them. Everyone deserved to be asked, "You like pizza?" And that simple truth was spreading across the stars, one friendship at a time.